Well, we've made it to the first week in April. Hope you guys had a great Easter and Passover weekend. Well, Austin is trying to take a title straight out of Star Wars, Cloud City, if you remember that one in the movie. No, we're not talking about clouds in the sky. However, Austin's making a push to become the largest and strongest data center community in America, possibly the world, by the end of this decade. Let me show you what's happening here on the ground. Well, this article came out this week in the Austin Business Journal, and it says experts say Austin is just beginning to become a hyperscale data center hub. And the article points out that right now, the top data center area in the country is Northern Virginia, but a lot of experts think Texas could become the largest data center market in the world by the end of this decade. And of course, the Austin San Antonio corridor will lead that push. And so right now, between Temple and San Marcos, Temple to the north, San Marcos to the south, they are creating septuple. That's 7 times the number of data centers that we currently have in the market. You'll see some charts down here in a minute. Let's start with this one. This is a map. So Austin's here in the middle. We got San Antonio to the south, Waco to the north. Now, they're not tracking everything in Texas. So this truly are the data centers planned or already constructed in our area. But you can see Temple's got several. You've got a large band up here on the northern half of the Austin Metro. These are cities like Round Rock, Georgetown, Hutto, Taylor. You're seeing all those up here. You've got the SH 130 corridor on the east and southeast side. And then, of course, you've got San Marcos working its way down to San Antonio. So building a lot of data centers in the area. How much? Well, if we keep scrolling down, this is just a chart of recent activity. So if we go to 2021 on the left-hand side, those were planned. Blue is under construction. You can see they're just now starting some of the compute power in 23, 24, 25. But really, look how much is planned, and that's just starting this year. So you're seeing a massive amount of push for data centers in the area. This is separate from the chips that we talked about several weeks ago. Chips would be, Tesla building their Terafab. You've got Samsung with their big factory up in Taylor and another one in Northeast Austin. You got Pegatron coming to Georgetown. So we've got lots of chips coming to the market, but this is separate. This is actually the capacity to run AI, run software, run companies, and they're really pushing hard on this. The two challenges to this are going to be water and energy, because it takes a lot of water to run data centers and it takes a lot of energy to run data centers. So that part of the story is still under debate. How we are going to find that water and create that energy is TBD. So pay attention to that. But Austin is doing everything it can to become not only a national leader, but possibly a global leader in the region when it comes to data centers. All right, well, let's start talking about the market. We now have some March data, and so it's looking okay. I would say there's some signs of great, and there's the typical continued slowdown we're seeing in Austin. So this is a highlight. This is Travis, William, and Hays County combined. So sales were down, but less than 1% off last year. So call it pretty flat on the amount of sales. Median sales price down about 2.4%, volume down, average sale price down. So we're still seeing some softening even over last year. Price per square foot and days on market up again about 11 days. So all of this is saying Austin continues to slow down a little bit over last year. If we go over to inventory, this is where the story starts to provide us a little bit of good news. So if we look at March, supply, new listings is down. So we're seeing that come down a little bit, not total listings, because there's a lot of stuff still sitting on the market, but new listings, new sellers slowing down. Under contracts in March, up 16.6% in those 3 counties. So that is the best piece of news we've seen. Now, March closings, a lot of those could have been February contracts prior to the war. But the point is, we're seeing a lot of good buyer activity. Pendings are up. And I can say with experience, we have felt on some of our listings a lot of demand still out there. We had a listing that we took to market in Southwest Austin. This is a good pocket of town, typically good schools, not a lot of new construction in the area. Anyways, completely original house. We priced it really well. Seller kind of followed our plan. And ultimately, we had 20 showings in the first 48 hours. We ended up with 4 offers before we even got to the weekend. And one of the buyers came in aggressive enough and said, hey, got to work a deal for the weekend. And we did. We didn't even make it to our Saturday open house. So that is not typical, but we are seeing activity on the right properties. If you are in the high inventory areas, these would be where you see a lot of new construction. If you're competing against builders, or if you're in like the downtown condo space, totally different story. Very high inventory, very slow, very challenging to find buyers in this market. But so far, we are seeing activity pick up. I'm going to be very curious when we get to April. All of the March contracts were written knowing that the war was happening, that interest rates had gone up, that oil had gone up. So I'm going to be curious to see if we continue this trend of more pendings over last year. Let's talk about price drops. So price drops are when the seller has to, list the house. You're not getting the activity. You got to adjust your price to find buyers. So right now on the active market, actives with a price drops about half. So 50, almost 50% of the properties are going to do a price drop. Average drop is about 7% off the original list price. And they're still sitting at about 2 months on the market, 64 days on the market. So those are the ones still for sale. If we look at the closed sales, probably 2/3 of them had a price drop. If I'm looking at 5,900, 3,300, well, maybe about 60% had a price drop, but their days on market to pending was lower. And then the price drop total was about 12%. That's to the closed price, not just the final list price. So let's say, you dropped your price 7 or 8%, and then you closed maybe 4 or 5% less than that. That's where you're getting that 12%. So there's still some aggressive price activity before people are getting buyers in the market. All right, this is the last 2 years of active versus sold listings. So the actives are the green, sold is the blue. So you can see inventory is still climbing. This is just single family homes. But if we go to the far left-hand side, this is 2024. You've got 2025, and now you've got 2026 over here. And so you can see spring is when inventory goes up. And if you look down at the closed sales, that's also when we have sales going up. But if you really look at the angles, you have more listings than sales, which is why, even though listings come down the second half of the year, it's because sales slow down too. And that's what brings the price down. So you had to look how many homes came off the market last, summer through fall. Not nearly as many of those sold. So there's a lot of pent up inventory as well from sellers who the last 2, 3, 4 years have had trouble selling the home. Maybe they've converted it to a rental for a while, or they decided to stay put for a while. So we still have years of sellers that would like to get their home sold. The number one thing we want to watch are those pendings. The more pending and activity we can have from buyers is going to help chew up some of this inventory. So pay attention to that. But right now we're in the spring season. We're going to see listings going up, and we are seeing sales going up. So far, that is a good sign. Boy, has this been volatile. This is interest rates as of this morning. It'll change again midday. But right now we're sitting just under 6.5% on the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. We're seeing still FHA and VA buyers might be able to sneak into the 5, especially with a good credit score. But anyways, it's been very volatile. Right before the war kicked off, we were sitting around 5.96%. And then, of course, you've got the war, you have higher energy prices, you have the bond market seeing volatility, and we've had some other data points which are unrelated to the war. We had a little stronger job data information. That typically means inflation will stay a little hotter. So we're watching all that. That's what's pushing up, let's say, mortgage rates. But for the foreseeable future, I think we're going to be in a 6 to 6.5 range. Maybe through the summer, could be longer. Again, that's just my prognostication, but typically they go up fast, they come down slow. And so we've gone up, let's say fast, back to maybe a 6.5 level. It hasn't materially slowed down the buyers yet. And so we haven't seen that yet. I think there's also pent-up buyer activity. They haven't been buying for 3 or 4 years either. So you've got some of those factors coming into the market. Pay attention to that. But for right now, mid 6s, I don't think is going to slow the market down too much. So we're going to see how that shows up in our April and May data. We shall see. So if you're a seller right now, odds are the best thing we got going for us is hopefully there's a little more buyer demand out there than we've seen in previous years. It is not impacting price yet. It is not impacting days on market yet. So it still takes a really well-priced and conditioned home to stand out and make the buyers want to jump on your home before they jump on someone else's. If you do it right, we're seeing some positive signs in the market. There's more buyers out there. If you're a buyer right now and you're concerned about interest rates, I always recommend talk to the mortgage lender. There's more than one bullet in the chamber. You can buy down the interest rate. There's other loan programs you can look at if you need to bring the rate down a bit. But the best thing for you continues to be inventory. You got plenty to look at. And now's a good time to be out there checking out what is on the market. The next 2, 3, 4 months are when we're going to see more and more homes coming to market. They'll typically peak out in July and then start reversing course. So great time to find inventory, especially if you know what pockets you want to be in. Anyways, hope this was helpful. You can follow our videos each and every week. Check out our YouTube channel at Ryan Kelly Group and click that subscribe button. Push into 250 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's see if we can get there. And I'm working to bring some more videos as well. Of course, if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, invest, or finance in Austin, would love the opportunity to talk with you. Anyways, we're going to have a nice, beautiful week here as we kick off the first full week of April and look forward to chatting with you again next Monday. Thanks.